Welcome to Learn with Roblox. In today's video, we're going to complete the square to solve quadratic equation, so let's get right into it. This first problem says x squared plus 8x is equal to 0. To do this, we need to complete the square, and to complete the square, you first take the coefficient on the x term. Here, that coefficient is 8. And now there's two steps you need to do to complete the square. The first step is divide the number by 2. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Then the next step is you have to square that number. So now you have 4 squared, and that's equal to 16. And this is the number you're going to use to complete the square. So all you need to do is add this number to both sides. So I'll have x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 16. And you have to add 16 to the right hand side as well, because whatever I do to the left hand side of an equation, I have to do it to the right hand side to make sure it's still fundamentally the same equation, or else I'm going to get a different answer. And then now we can just factor this. X squared plus 8x plus 16, you can easily factor that as just x plus 4 squared. And how can you do that so fast? Well, remember how I said you have to do 8 divided by 2 for the first step of completing the square? Whatever number you get when you divide by 2, which it was 4 in this case, that's the number you can put into the factored expression. So that's a very quick trick you can use. And then this whole thing is set equal to 16. And then now I see that we have x plus 4 squared. I can just take a square root to get rid of that squared. So why don't I do that? Take the square root of both sides. And after that, I'll have x plus 4, because the square and the square root will cancel out, is equal to the square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. It's not just 4, and the reason that's the case is because we're doing this in a quadratic equation. Whenever you take the square root of something and you're doing it to cancel out a square, you have to take the positive and the negative solution. And now we have x plus 4 equals plus or minus 4. So let's just subtract 4 from both sides. So now I'll have x is equal to minus 4 plus or minus 4. And now let's just find both solutions. So we can take the plus solution and the minus solution. So minus 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. Minus 4 minus 4 is just equal to minus 8. So these are our solutions. So let me just rewrite all of this. By completing the square, we found out that x is equal to 0 and is equal to minus 8. Let's move on to some harder problems. In this problem, we have x squared plus 6x plus 2 is equal to 0, and we need to solve this by completing the square. First thing I'm going to do is subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm going to do minus 2 minus 2. That'll get me x squared plus 6x is equal to negative 2. Now let's complete the square. So to complete the square, take the coefficient on the x term. That's just 6 in this case. And then do the two steps. 6 divided by 2 is 3, because you always divide by 2 first, and then you have to square the number you get right afterwards. 3 squared is just equal to 9. So this is the number I'm going to add to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to add a 9 to this side, and I'm going to add a 9 to that side. So I'm going to get x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to minus 2 plus 9 is just 7. And now let's factor x squared plus 6x plus 9. That just factors as x plus 3 squared, and the way they can do this really fast is you just take the coefficient on that middle term, which was a 6, and just divide it by 2 to get a 3, and that's the number you're going to put in. And this is all equal to 7. So now let's just take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to take the square root here and take the square root of there. The square and the square root cancel, and I'm left with x plus 3. And this is going to be equal to the plus or minus square root of 7. Because we did this square root to cancel out an x plus 3 squared, therefore you have to take the positive and the negative solution. And then now just subtract 3 from both sides. So if I do that, I'll have x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 7. And I can just write both solutions by taking the positive and the negative solution. So we have minus 3 plus the square root of 7 is one solution. And we also have minus 3 minus the square root of 7 is the other solution. And that's it. We're done with this problem. Here we have x squared minus 5x minus 13 is equal to 0. To solve this by completing the square, I'm going to add 13 to both sides. And if I do that, I'm going to have x squared minus 5x is equal to positive 13. Now let's complete the square. To complete the square, take the coefficient on the x term and first divide it by 2. So I have minus 5 halves. Now you need to square that. So minus 5 halves squared, that's just minus 5 squared over 2 squared. Minus 5 squared is just 25, because the minus will cancel out when you square it. And 2 squared is just 4. So 25 over 4 is the number I'm going to use to complete the square. So let's add that to both sides. If I add this to both sides, I'm going to get x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4 is equal to 13 plus 25 over 4. Now, I want to turn 13 into something divided by 4 so I can add it to 25 over 4. So 13, that's the same thing as just 52 divided by 4. And you can get that numerator by simply multiplying 13 by 4. So I'm just going to rewrite this. This is equal to 52 over 4 plus 25 over 4. And 52 plus 25 is 77. So this is all just 77 over 4. Now let's factor all this stuff on the left-hand side here. X squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4. That just factors as x squared, or not x squared. It factors as x minus 5 over 2 squared. Once again, the trick to get this number is just take the middle coefficient of minus 5 and divide by 2. And then this whole thing is equal to 77 over 4. From here, just take a square root. So we're going to have x minus 5 halves, because the square and the square root cancel, is equal to plus or minus the square root of 77 over 4. For the square root of 77 over 4, I can break that up into the square root of 77 divided by the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is just 2. So I can just write a 2 right over here. And now just add 5 halves to both sides. So if I do that, I'm going to have x is equal to 5 halves plus or minus the square root of 77 over 2. And now I can just take the positive and the negative solution. So the first solution is going to be 5 over 2 plus the square root of 77 over 2. Well, I can just rewrite that as one big fraction because they have the same denominator. So let me do that. 5 plus square root of 77 divided by 2 is equal to x. And then I can also just take the negative solution. Let me erase this to make some more space. I'll have 5 minus the square root of 77 divided by 2 is the other solution of x. And that's it. We found both solutions. In this problem, we have that x squared plus 11x plus 17 is equal to 21x plus 41. The first thing we're going to do is rearrange the terms to get the x terms on the left side and move the numbers to the right side. To do that, I'll just do this in one step. Let's just subtract 21x from both sides. And let's subtract 17 from both sides. That way I'll have the x terms on the left and the numbers on the right. So I'll have x squared minus 11 minus 21 is just 10, so minus 10x. And that's equal to 41 minus 17 is just 24. Now we're ready to complete the square. So to complete the square, take the x term coefficient of minus 10 and divide it by 2. Minus 10 divided by 2 is minus 5. Then you have to square that number right afterwards. So minus 5 squared is equal to positive 25. And that's the number we're going to add to both sides to complete the square. So if we add 25 to both sides, I'll have x squared minus 10x plus 25 is equal to 24 plus 25. 24 plus 25 is just 49. And now let's factor this. X squared minus 10x plus 25 factors as x minus 5 squared. The quick trick is you just take your middle coefficient of minus 10 and divide it by 2 to get minus 5. And this is equal to 49. Let me erase all this stuff here. And then now we're ready to take a square root. So just take the square root of both sides to cancel out that squared. And then the square and the square will cancel here, and left with x minus 5 is equal to, the square root of 49 is going to be plus or minus 7. And then let's add 5 to both sides. So I'm going to get that x is simply equal to 5 plus or minus 7. And I can just find both solutions very easily by taking the positive and the negative solution. 5 plus 7 equals 12. That's one solution. 5 minus 7 equals negative 2. That's our other solution. So therefore, x has the solutions of 12 and minus 2 in this equation. And just like that, we're done. In this problem, we have 4x squared plus 48x minus 112 is equal to 0. To solve this equation by completing the square, I'm first going to divide every single term by 4. And the reason I'm doing this is because whenever you're completing the square, you don't want to work with the 4x squared. You just want a coefficient of 1 on the x squared. So the way to do that is just divide by 4. So we're going to get x squared plus 48 over 4 is just 12, so 12x. Minus 112 over 4 is just negative 28. And then of course 0 divided by 4 is just 0. And then now what I'm going to do is just add 28 to both sides. So I can put the constants on the other side. So that'll just get me x squared plus 12x, oops, I kind of deleted that, is equal to 28. Now we can complete the square. To complete the square, take the coefficient on the x, that's 12, and you first have to divide it by 2. That's just 6. And then whatever number you get from that, you have to square it. So 6 squared is equal to 36. So 36 is the magic number you add to both sides. I'm going to add a 36 to the left side and add 36 to the right side. So now let me go down and write what the new equation is. We'll have x squared plus 12x plus 36 is equal to 28 plus 36 is 64. And now let's just factor this. 12x squared plus 12x plus 36, that just factors as x plus 6, 12. Not 12, squared. And then the way you can get the plus 6 easily is just take the positive 12 from the 12x coefficient or 12x term and just divide it by 2. And then now just take the square root of both sides. So if we do that, the squared and the squared cancel out. So we have x plus 6 is equal to, the square root of 64 is going to be plus or minus 8, because you have to take the positive and the negative solution here because we're solving a quadratic. And now let's just find both solutions. Subtract 6 from both sides to get x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus 8. And then just take the positive and the negative solution. Minus 6 plus 8 is equal to positive 2. Minus 6 minus 8 is equal to negative 14. Therefore, our solutions to x are just positive 2 and negative 14. And just like that, we are done. This problem says minus 3x squared plus 18x is equal to negative 81, and we need to find the solutions of x by completing the square. To do that, I'm first going to divide every term by negative 3. And the reason I'm doing this is because for completing the square, you need a coefficient of 1 on the x squared term. So we're going to have x squared plus, well, actually let me put a minus, because 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. So we have minus 6x. And then minus 81 divided by minus 3 is positive 27. And now we're ready to complete the square. To complete the square, take the coefficient on the x term, that's minus 6, divided by 2 to get minus 3, and you have to square that number. Minus 3 squared is positive 9, and that's the magic number to add to both sides. So I'm going to add a 9 to the left side and a 9 to the right side. So let me go down and write the new equation. X squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 27 plus 9 is just 36. And then now we can factor the left-hand side. So x squared minus 6x plus 9 factors as x minus 3 squared. To get the minus 3, just simply take the minus 6 and divide it again by 2. And then that's equal to 36. So now we can take the square root of both sides. So we're going to have x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus 6. Just add a 3 to both sides now. And we're going to have x is equal to 3 plus or minus 6. And now we can just find both solutions very easily. So 3 plus 6 is our first solution, which is just 9. 3 minus 6 is our next solution, that's just negative 3. Therefore, our solutions for x in this equation are minus 3 and positive 9. And we're done. In this problem, we have minus x squared plus 13x is equal to 6x minus 2x squared minus 4. To solve this by completing the square, I'm first going to subtract the 6x from both sides. And I'm also going to add a plus 2x squared to both sides. And what that does is that'll get the x terms on the left side of the equation, and I'll leave the minus 4 on the right side of the equation. If I do all of that, you're going to get x squared, because minus x squared plus 2x squared is just 1x squared. And then plus 13 minus 6 is just 7. So 7x is equal to minus 4. And from here, we can complete the square. So to complete the square, take the term on the x, or the coefficient on the x, that's 7, and do 7 divided by 2 first, and then you have to square that number. So 7 over 2 squared is just 7 squared divided by 2 squared, and then that is just 49 over 4. So this is the number you're going to want to add to both sides. So let's add 49 over 4 to the left side, and let's add that to the right side. So let me go down and write the new equations we have. So we're going to get x squared plus 7x plus 49 over 4 is simply equal to minus 4 plus 49 over 4. Now for the right hand side, I want to combine minus 4 and 49 over 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write minus 4 as minus 16 fourths. To that, I just wrote that as minus 4 over 1 and multiplied by 4 over 4. So I can just rewrite this over here as minus 16 over 4. And then minus 16 plus 49 is positive 33. So all this is equal to 33 over 4. Now let's factor the left-hand side. X squared plus 7x plus 49 over 4, that simply turns into x plus 7 over 2 squared. And easy trick is just take the middle term, 7x, take the coefficient 7, divided by 2, that's the number you get in here. And then that's all equal to 33 over 4. Finally, just take a square root. And if you do that, you're going to have x plus 7 over 2 is equal to the square root of 33 over 4. And then square root of 33 over 4 is equal to the square root of 33 divided by the square root of 4. And we know that the square root of 4 is just 2. Oh, and don't forget to write the plus or minus. And now just subtract 7 halves from both sides. So all of this is just going to become x is equal to minus 7 halves plus or minus the square root of 33 divided by 2. And now let's just take both the positive and the negative solution and we'll be done. So first I'll have x is equal to minus 7 over 2 plus the square root of 33 over 2. We can combine that into one fraction since they both have a common denominator of 2. So minus 7 plus the square root of 33 divided by 2. And now just take the negative solution. So that would be x is equal to minus 7 minus the square root of 33 divided by 2. Let me step out. And there you go. These are our solutions to x. Our final problem of the day says x squared plus 20x minus 44 is equal to 0, and we need to solve this by completing the square. First thing I'm going to do is add 44 to both sides. And if I do that, I'll have x squared plus 20x is equal to positive 44. Now let's complete the square. To complete the square, take the coefficient on the x, 20, divided by 2, that's just 10, and then take the number you get and square it. So 10 squared equals 100, and 100 is the number we're going to add to both sides. So if I do that, I'll have x squared plus 20x plus 100 is equal to 44 plus 100. And then 44 plus 100 is just 144. Now let's just factor the left side. X squared plus 20x plus 100 factors as x plus 10 squared. Just take the 20 and the 20x and divide it by 2 to get the 10 to put in the parentheses. And then that just equals 144. Take the square root of both sides now. And you're going to have x plus 10 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 144 is just 12. And now we can subtract 10 from both sides. So we have x is equal to minus 10 plus or minus 12. And we can just find both solutions pretty easily now. So we'll have 10 plus 12 is equal to positive 2 minus 10 minus 12 is equal to negative 12. Or, no, what am I doing? That's negative 22. And there you go. These are our solutions. So x is equal to 2 and negative 22. That wasn't so bad. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.